Good morning, everybody. I'm just going to give a few minutes, let everyone gather. I have a really good project for you guys today that is good for children, for craft fair, for fun. Good morning, Eileen. Eileen, would you mind doing the magic? Let me open the links. And you guys will have to help me today to get through if I have any breaks in communication. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hi, Jean. Hi, Minda. Okay, there is the magic. Thank you all. Good morning, Jean. All right, I think I have enough. I can see the chat and everything looks okay right now, so I'm going to try and jump right in. Okay, so yesterday I shared with you that I went to a holiday craft fair in my area, and I met a lovely lady who was doing paper crafts, and this is her melted snowman, and it says, "I'll be back again someday." This is a plastic ornament, and I'm going to go over the tools and supplies that you'll need to do this project. Okay, this is what we're making. So the first thing you'll need to get, Michaels is selling these Celebrate It style ornaments. They're currently 50% off. So individually they're sold for 99 cents in the US, $1.29 in Canada. They're in the holiday section, obviously, and right now they're 50 cents. They also sell them, let me see if I can find it, here we go, in a box like this. They're $9.99, $12.99 in Canada, and you get 12, so they are also on sale. So last night I went over to Michael's to pick some up, and I was able to get a box of 12 for $5. So that's what I would suggest. This happens to be the last box that they had, so I bought another 12 individually. You just pay $1 more. Okay. You're also going to need some clay. I went over to Joann's in my local area, and I found this FIMO clay in orange on sale for 97 cents. I don't know if you can see that. That is how much I used to create, just the corner there, 24 noses. Okay, so you just kind of sit here and roll them out, get a little nose shape, and then I just put them on a Pyrex plate, and I put them in the oven at about 265 degrees, and you bake them for about 10 minutes. And then they do harden up a little bit. To me, they don't really feel, completely hard like carrots, but it doesn't take you any time at all. And then I just popped them in the bag. You're also going to need some fabric. I went since I was at Joann's, and I just asked for, I found some plaid in regular price per yard was $5.99. I just asked for 1/4 of a yard. And even after I've prepped all my scarves and hangers, I still have all of this left. So if I'm lucky enough to find some more of those ornaments, I'll be making some more. So that's your fabric. Just get 1/4 of a yard. You'll need a pair of pinking shears. And basically what you want to do with the fabric, I cut it into 1-inch by 12-inch strips for the hanger. I'll show you. So this is our hanger. It is pinked on both sides. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to fold it in half, loop the end through, this is probably the most time consuming. Oh, see? Loop the end through. Ah. Wish it were thinner, but again, my big hands. Okay, and then what you'll do, and I find it's best to do many of these at the same time. Find something to hold this up. You take the folded end and just push it through. And then pull it through, and then you've got a hanger, yeah? Okay. So this project just takes a little pre-planning. Then, after you have all your hangers, you know, pinked and cut, you just take a 3-inch piece, thereabouts, pink it on both sides, and tie a knot in the middle. And that's going to be the scarf that's on the inside of the ornament. So last night I sat around, and after I got back, and I prepped a lot of these things. So I have all my noses done and baked. I have all my scarves cut, my interior scarves and my hangers. Then the other thing that you're going to need to complete the project is you're going to need some salt. Now I went to Dollar Tree, and they sell 26-ounce, 1-pound, 10-ounce jars of salt for 50 cents. So you can get 2 for $1. You know, salt shouldn't be that expensive. And then I went to my cupboard, and you need some whole black peppercorns, kind that look like this. So I have, you know, this that we use for cooking. And then you're going to need a funnel. Then the last thing that you need to prep, and take a look at what punches that you own and see what's going to work best for you. I have this little tag punch. You can see it. I thought that would be about the right size, and it's a very easy one to use. I went into my computer and I created a sheet, found the font that I liked, and so forth. I think I used Lucinda calligraphy or something. Lucinda handwriting. And I did it in an 8-point font. And literally on one sheet of cardstock, I printed out my little tags. And I found that that size fits in my tag punch pretty well. And then this morning I just printed them out, and I do know that the hole is off center. That's intentional, so that way when it snugs up, you know, it's easily legible. Then you're going to need some kind of twine or tie-on to tie on your tag. And that is pretty much everything that you're going to need for the project. So I just happen to have some begun. And I'm going to work in this little drawer keeper 4 at a time. And I think it's probably easiest to attach your hangers and your tags before they're filled. So I have prepped 12. This will be the 12th one. And then I'll have 12 more. The other thing that you want to think about is if you're doing multiples of these for any reason, you do need to keep them upright. So you need to think about how you're going to transport them, how you're going to store them. You know, ornament box if you have one, perfect. I don't, so I'm going to probably use, I have a cardboard box that I have some of these drawer liners in, these plastic things that will keep these up and down. Or you could, you know, just kind of make an ornament box using some cardboard and so forth. I think if you can work doing multiples, it goes a lot faster. And if you take the time and you prep everything ahead of time, it's a lot easier. So I have 4 ornaments here. I've got my noses ready. I'm just going to grab a thing of salt and my funnel, and I'm just going to try and open this up. Okay, alright, good enough. I'm just going to kind of cut back that tape. And I'm just going to take out 4 little noses. And like I say, they're stiffer, they're not, you know, but if you leave them out and let them air dry a bit more, it's a little bit easier. Okay, and then you can just kind of pop out the hanger. And you could, you know, at many places we're selling glass ornaments. I don't recommend that for this. Hold out for the plastic. It just is a little bit simpler. So to start with, we're just going to put my funnel, and I haven't done one yet, so I'm not quite sure how much salt we need, but I'm thinking that looks pretty good. Okay, I just have a handful of peppercorns, and boy, they smell pretty good. So we're going to do 2 eyes, three for the mouth, and maybe 4 buttons. So, I mean, however you want to do it. And then we're going to put in a carrot. It's so cute. Oh my gosh. Guys, we'll tell you to be careful with how long you make your noses. Because, you know, they're going to kind of hit. Which I think is funny too, but okay. And then what we want to do is we want to pull out some of those little scarves that I cut up last night, the 3-inch pieces. Now this might need a little help going down the funnel. So I'm just going to take a pencil and kind of push it. So I estimated the cost. The 1/4 yard of fabric cost me $1.50. My price per yard was $5.99. There was no sale. Like I said, the clay was 97 cents. And I had the twine, I had the peppercorns, you know, so I estimate, and this is just a sheer estimate, then you're just going to push those kind of prongs together on the base of the ornament and slide it in. And with the ornaments, I'm going to be able to make about 24 of these for probably just under $12. And then all you do is you just pop this. Be careful you don't dent that ornament top. It's kind of hard. And there you have it. There's 4. So there you go. What do we think? I think they're hysterical. Hysterical. I really do. And you can see when you take the time and you prep, it goes very quickly. So there's 4 completed. think it's a great project to do with kids because you can do all the hard parts ahead of time, and then they can have fun just kind of, you know, putting it together. Carrot noses. I'm going to pull out the scarves. And here, simple things that you need to do this. I will say, even with it being pinked, these plaid fabrics kind of get everywhere. Now, I kind of like that country look. You could pick fleece, you could pick whatever you wish. But I think the important things are kind of like, you know, how are you going to store them? Something to work in, to hold them up and down. Oh, that might be a little extra snow there. And that's still not, you know, completely finished. Hi, Carrie. Yeah, I looked for hats, like little, you know, hats, like miniatures or something. They didn't have anything. I think that's perfect for our Florida friends, honestly. It's a perfect thing. And I'm going with 9 peppercorns. I mean, you can do, you know, whatever feels right to you. I totally love it, especially when they're first made and they're not shook or anything, because it looks like there's a smile on the top. So definitely get yourself like a funnel for this, and then you can just put your toppers on. A wine box? Oh, you know, I have a little tree for the shop that I'm going to hang them on. But you can see, once again, once you do the prep, it goes pretty quickly. So there's 4 more. I think they're so sweet. I'll be back again someday. And that's what mine look like. I know it's so hard because the camera is above my desk, but you kind of get the gist. Yeah, beer box that has the divisions. Ornament box. I mean, whatever you have. I hope so. I hope they sell really quickly. They're really inexpensive, you know, to do. They don't take much time. I mean, literally, I got back from Joann's at about 9 o'clock. I poked around to see if anybody was streaming, and while I was doing that, I was kneading clay. So I got them, you know, all rolled up. Then I sat here and with the pinking shears, and I got some fabric in my coffee. And then I just cut all the strips of fabric. I figured out, you know, how long I wanted it to be, and sat here and cut it so it's no sew. And then I had an hour-long fight with my printer. And I did the tags this morning, so I mean, it didn't really take a long time. Honestly, it doesn't. And it's just kind of, you know, getting all of your stuff together, so to speak. So welcome everyone that I may have missed. Oh, I gotta get the noses out. And the noses don't take any time. I mean, literally. I thought that was going to be my detriment. They would take too long, but they really don't. We're just coming to the end of the first canister of salt. So you might be able to, if you played your cards right, you could get 12 out of a can this size. But because it was so darn cheap, I did buy $2 worth. So we're in good shape. I've got more than enough. And I'll probably have 1, if not 2, left over. Just make sure you get the iodized salt that would resemble snow. And you don't want to do sugar. Salt is going to, I mean, it'll clump up a little, which will make it look more like more snow. sugar would clump up a lot. Yeah, you need to be careful. But this is a good mass production type thing. It's a good idea. I do recommend, you know, kind of laying them out like I have and tying on your hangers and your tags beforehand. Makes the whole process just a lot easier. Ow! That one does not want to go in. Okay. Okay, so inside of 30 minutes, I have completed 12. So they go pretty quick. Pretty fun, huh? What I thought would be fun is after we're done is to use this packaging in some way to make a card. So, I need more of those nifty trays. So. And honestly, I think if they turn just a little bit, you're going to be okay. Because I have like this old perfume box that this big set came in on my right, and that's kind of what I'm using. So let's do the most time-consuming part of the project, which is tags and hangers. So I have found that kind of doing all of my fiddling, you know, with them intact is a little bit easier. And it doesn't take so long. I'm into easy, you know that. I was having trouble last night, like cutting my fabric consistently. So you might want to start with like an 18-inch piece. Mine are 12, and I think they're a little bit short, but it's going to be okay. It's all going to work out. So I just take a piece that I've pinked, and you know, I'm all over the board with the width, but I was trying to make like a 1-inch piece in width, 1 by 12, and then when you pink it on either side, you know, you'll get a little bit less. I mean, I think perfect would be about 3/4 of an inch wide. And then you just kind of pull it through so you get that kind of knot over here. And then I'm just going to take this, push it through the top of the ornament, pull it through, and then that's how you have your hanger. So again, no rhyme or reason. It's pinked on both sides. And then just kind of twist this around itself. And just try and get it close to the top. Take the folded side, kind of in the middle. Push it through, open up the loop, and there you go. And then this will be the last one for this set. We only have to do this 3 more times. 8 more times. Hello. So use what you have, you know. I mean, she has silver kind of ribbon. I looked for some 1/8 inch silver ribbon last night. I couldn't find any. But I did get some unfortunate news. When I was walking around Joann's, I was looking for, I went to Joann's because I knew they'd have the fabric, or at least a choice of fabric. And I knew I wouldn't spend as much. So I went there for that. And then in my town, Joann's and Mike's are in very close proximity. So I figured, okay, if they didn't have something, I could just run over to Michael's, which is what I wound up doing. They only had glass ornaments, which I really don't want. I mean, you could do it, and they were expensive. And Joann's was selling the plastic ornaments in this size, and they had all shapes and sizes. They were for $1.99, and there was no sale. So I was like, okay, I'll just go over to Michael's. Well, I noticed that they had quite a few things in the stamp area on sale. Now, I have a very old Joann's store. It needs a remodel. And the types of things that were on sale were, you know, like tool related. And I was like, So I'll show you what I picked up to go with my new venture. I got this cleaning pad. I was hoping it was double-sided. It is not, but it'll be fine. The new ink that Fun Stamper's Journey uses is Fusion ink. So that just comes out. And that's got some pigment and some dye properties to it, so I wanted something to be able to clean it on. This would normally sell for about $12, $13, and I got it for $3. So I thought that was really good. Then they had, and I wasn't going to buy these, but they were $3, and they're usually $20. So these are Fiskers stamp box, and this size is it's 1x1, 2x2, 3x3, and then whatever. I don't know what this one is, but my stamp block in this size has gotten something on it that I can't get off. And Fun Stampers does not have a 3x3 block. They got stuff that's close, so for $3, I just couldn't leave it there. Because it's so small, Jean. I mean, and my pinking shears are probably 25 years old. So it was very much a struggle for me to cut this fabric with the pinking shears, although I did it. And then this is so tiny. You know, I mean, you can do whatever you want. That makes it your project, right? I just kind of like the addition of something something else, you know. I like the way the twine looks. So that's why I picked those things up for a total of $6. It'll work. And it's just personal preference. That's why I did it the way I did it. Or you could do the whole thing in twine. You know, whatever you have. I wanted some plaid fabric because I just thought that's what Frosty the Snowman looks like to me. And once you get going, it's not too bad. And to me, it's the fabric that's the pain in the behind, more so than the twine. I'm making them for an upcoming holiday fair that I am selling everything that I have been creating to benefit Habitat for Humanity. So, you know, I'm always on the lookout for quick and easy things that would sell for, you know, no more than $5. So that's what they're for. And then I'm going to, if I'm lucky enough to, alright, hang on a second. This is like not straight up and down. It's going to drive me crazy. Okay. If I'm lucky enough to find some more plastic ornaments, I will put them in Tea-Berry. Thank you. And goes the salt. Yeah, I'm vice president of our local chapters board, so I'm always doing, and I chair the fundraising committee, which I've always said is kind of laughable, but I keep trying to come up with stuff to do. So it's very simple. It's just, you know, FIMO clay that I did bake. These little 3x1 pieces of fabric for their little scarf, and salt and peppercorns. I love it. Sorry, I got a whiff of the pepper. Three new Victorian border dies, and you won't be using them often? But you can't get the paper out? Yeah, try wax paper. And I would say the Journey tool is the same thing as that Spellbinder's nifty tool that I had previously. You know, it's got the roller on it, and if you use wax paper in that, it's pretty good. And I'm thinking that I'm gonna buy a bunch of those, and then if I have people sign up under me, I'm gonna send that to them. Oh crap, that stinks, Diane. Okay, so there's 4 more. So we've made 16 just in that quick a time. These little dividers I can use. Look, that's a clear, beautiful S-tape. I could put that in a card. I love it. And then I've got 4 more left in that packaging. Okay, so sorry, just getting set. That twine is just from Studio 112. I don't know where I picked it up, but it was $1. It's a good width. Okay, here we go. Strip of fabric. Just kind of. Yeah, magic cards. I haven't done them in a long time. You'll get it. Don't give up. It takes a lot of perseverance. And sometimes it seems like when I would cut those things again, like with the wax paper or something, and I know it like drives it deeper into the die, but it somehow it pops it out of there too. So you might want to consider that. Just doing another cut, but putting some wax paper through it. Might help. I don't know. Or you could just sit there and pick the damn thing out, which is not fun, but we'll get it done. I'm really happy with how these are coming out. Once you get going on them, it's pretty quick. Okay, so there's 4 hangers. Here will be very quickly 4 labels. They're fun. I haven't done them in years. It's a good idea. Okay. Oop. There we go. Go over this side. The twine and stuff that I waste because I can't stand not to have enough to tie something on with. And like I say, I don't always say this, but I do have very large hands, and it just makes it so much harder to do all this small work if you don't have enough to grab onto. I just find that very irritating, so I probably waste a lot of twine, but that's okay, I guess. Whoop. Okay, let me just trim these up. Okay. Here we go. That one looks like a face. Eyes. Okay, so just that fast. We have 4 more. And then I just need to do the last 4, and then I'll have made 24. Goes really quick. I mean, if you take the time and do the prep, you can probably do 24 ornaments in about an hour. I would say it took me probably, if I just sat down and was dedicated to doing it with no holdups, to cut all that stuff and bake the clay and make the tags. Probably took me an hour. But I have been told that I am pretty quick, so there you go. There is that. So 4 more. They're so cute. I like how that one came out. Looks like the smile and then the eyes. Okay, last 4. And then we got all this great looking acetate as a bonus. Okay. So since we're coming into the home stretch, I think I'll take a little sip of coffee here. Be a great factory piece worker? No, I get bored. It's funny because I kind of grew up in the town of Millville, which was, it still is, it's nothing but glass houses. And a lot of people were shift workers. And it just seemed like prison to me. But a lot of people's parents did it. But yeah, I do tend to like projects that are low cost, that I can mass produce quickly. And then also, Michael's had a 50% off coupon. So I got some of these celebrated bags, the 1 pound size, because I was thinking, you know, I need a little bag if I sell these to put them in. So that was the last pack of red sacks. Good morning. And I figured they'd be about the right size, you know. Oh, thank you. This one I got from, I'd seen it on the internet, I'd never seen it in person. And I went to a craft fair yesterday, and this really nice lady was selling them. So I bought one from her, and here you go. There were two shows yesterday. There was one at the country club, which is kind of down the street, and then there was one at the church around the other corner. And anyway, Keith and I had gone to another fair because I've been going to these fairs for ideas pretty much. 2 weeks ago, and there's this lady there that made these devil's food cake bonbons, but the icing is peanut butter, and he really liked them. And she was at one of the shows, so he didn't go with me this time, so I was really happy to see her, so I got him some more. Then I bought at the country club show, there was a lot of pet type stuff, so I got Getty, some little furry mice, and a candy cane filled with catnip, because he went to the vet yesterday, and I think we're back in the good book, because he jumped on that thing like there was no tomorrow. And he's fine. He had his shots, but we were taking him because we had found this little patch on his right kind of on his jawline, and we were worried that it might be something, but what she said is it was just an oil gland, and it looks like he might have scratched at it, and it's all gone now. So he's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. So, yeah. So I bought Keith the bonbons, Getty the peppermint stick or candy cane full of catnip, and myself the melted snowman ornament. So since my craft fair is going to be on December 7th, thought it would be nice to have some things. So we're coming to the end of these melted snowmen, and we've done about 24 of them. 24 of them exactly. In about an hour and 15 minutes, so pretty good. I like it. Okay. So they're all tied on there. Oh, then the other thing that I got, oh, is Diane still here? I wanted to show her. Goldie. I'll show you when we're done. I got this cute little binder that had pages that you could buy that had 2x2 pockets in them. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a swatch book for a fun stamper's journey in it. Goldie, here's what I got. So this is like 6 by 6 maybe. And then it opens up, and then these little pocket pages, I mean, they were really inexpensive, but they're 2 by 2 squares. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a 2 by 2 piece of all the colors of cardstock, and then I'm going to find a stamp that I can stamp in the ink to get myself a little swatch book. And I bought several. They come in 10 packs, so I figure you could do the front, you could do the back. I got 3 packs, so 30 sheets, but you know, there's a way to work it out. And that's what I'm going to put my colors in. Altogether it was about 10 bucks. Wasn't too bad. It was die cuts with a view, and I found it at Joann. So I don't know if I completed this thought, but I originally was saying that they're getting ready to remodel our Joann store, which is about 10 years overdue. And the girl told me that they're getting rid of all the scrapbook and stamping stuff, and I'm like, well, what a shame. Yeah, it's going to put the name of the paper, you know, just like a little square. I can write the name of the paper or the ink or whatever. What do you think? I did, and so did Diane. Look in the box.
Wow.
They're adorable, aren't they?
I love them.
Yeah, I'm just coming to the end of 24 of them.
Awesome. You're also out of range of the dueling chainsaws out there. Nothing like that on a Sunday morning.
Who is it, Charlie or Dave?
Getting that front tree up.
Keith is informing me that our neighbors have a chainsaw war going on.
Yeah, right early from 8 o'clock.
It's kind of just going into the background. I think I heard it, but
Wonders. Well, they look great.
thank you. Okay, so there's all that. Well, thank you. Thanks, Martha. I think it's going to be fun to do it with a friend. Okay. Oh, I have to take the pencil of that one. There you go. Okay, and last one. but certainly not least. Okay. I guess I made one extra nose there. Okay guys, so that's how you do 24 in about an hour or so. I think they're adorable. I'll post some pictures on Instagram and, you know, everywhere. I know you guys are getting the aerial view, so to speak. But how about we take a quick break? And I do have some stamps that I wanted to make a card with. And we can work on a card together. Because I don't have near enough of those. All these other projects, I need to have a lot of cards to choose from. Didn't post? Sorry, Sandy. Here, Sandy, I'll show you. And they'll be recording. We just made 24 of them. So it says, I'll be back again someday. And I've got the plaid hanger. And you're looking at the top of the ornament. So it's a plastic ornament. And then there's salt. And then a little scarf. And a clay nose. It's I'll show you. It's FIMO. I got it for $1. And I did bake them. It took 10 minutes at 265. And then I just printed up the little tags on my computer, printed them out on cardstock, and I have this punch, and then it's a 8-point font. Yeah, this, I mean, you wouldn't believe this, sale. So at Mike's, these ornaments are on 50% off. So I got a box of them. They're usually, you know, a box of 12. They're usually $9.99. I paid $5. It was the last box that they had, so I had to go to the individuals to get 12 more. And I think they're regularly 99 cents in the US, $1.29 in Canada. So they were 50% off as well. Then I just went to Joann's and I got a quarter of a yard of this plaid. I paid $1.50. And I just used my pinking shears. And then I had some twine, and the salt I got at Dollar Tree. It's 50 cents for 1 pound, 10 ounces. And, you know, I bought 4 of those, $2 worth. So, I mean, for this project, I think I'm all in for 15 bucks on the outside. I had the peppercorns at home. You know, just whole black peppercorns. I always use, you know, cracked black pepper when I cook, so I knew I had that. So yeah, it's a really, really easy project. And then this little twine, this is Studio 112. I got it at AC Moore. It's put out by K & Company. It was $1 for 4 yards. So that's it. That's all there is to it. Yeah, I did really well. I did really, really well with this one. Very, very happy about it. And they come together quick. If you, like last night I sat down and, you know, this is probably old news to everybody who's been with us, but last night I sat down and I cut the fabric, and I did 1 inch by 12 inch for the hangers, and then I just used my picking shears on either side, and then the little scarf on the inside, that's a 3-inch piece, also, you know, pinked on either side, so it stops the fraying. And then I just sat here and I used, you know, 1/4 of that to do 25 noses. I just sat here and rolled it while I was watching videos and whatnot. And then there you have it. So the prep, if you prep it, you know, it's it makes it go pretty quick. If you want to do a 4-inch piece of scarf, that'd be okay too. Whatever you wish. I'm glad you like it, Sandy. Yeah, really inexpensive. I'm digging it. So I'm just going to put the remaining pieces of my project kind of all together. And then they fit in these little Recollections 1-pound sacks pretty nicely. So I got a bag of those. I'm going to have to dig through and see if I have the smaller size, because I only have 16 of these bags. And there you have it. So we're just taking a quick break. And if you're lucky enough to buy them in this plastic container, you do get some really nice acetate to work with when you're finished. Oh, that's a big piece. Did that fall out? But these little pieces, you know, you can, the dividers you can use. You can cut down the sides. So I was kind of thinking that I wanted to do that. I wanted to utilize the acetate from the packaging and at least make a card. So I'm going to save that, and I'm going to research what I want to do for that. Then I wasn't sure if the other week I had gotten an order in from Blitsy, and I had gotten in some Gorjuss Girl stamps. Oh, they liked it. They liked it. They liked the fact, they didn't ooh and ah over it, but you know, they're not crafters. I think they liked the overall take. You know, the overall, what they'll like is the money it generates and that we're getting out there, you know, and they like that idea. So several weeks ago, Blitzy had Gorjuss Girl stamps on sale for $5, $5.50 I think a set. So that's about the cheapest I've ever seen them. I really like the Gorjuss Girl sets, and that was before I was thinking of fun stampers. So I wanted to share with you what I picked up. So $5.63 a set, guys. I love the packaging. This one is called Ruby. And I'm just going to let the camera focus. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. It's a little slow. Come on. There we go. Yeah, I even if I just like them for collection's sake, I just like them. So, 4 pieces. You get the frame, the border, the cat, and the girl. This one is 7 pieces, and this one is called On Top of the World. Now I'm going to show you, flip it over on the back, and you see all the outline. That's everything that you get. Sorry. So the girl, the button, little birds, and the plaque. $5.63. I just thought it was a great price. This one is Little Red. This one is 10 pieces. So you get that nice oval frame and the girl, the apple. Looks like a little heart button, a leaf, and then down the bottom you get an apple, a button, and 3 leaves that are in the corners. This one is called I can't read it. They're making things smaller and smaller. Oh, this is Ladybird. This one is 3 pieces. So you get that strip border, you get the frame and the girl. This one is called the White Rabbit, and it's 12 pieces. Butterfly clocks, journal spot, little girl. There's some flowers at the top and some pocket watches. This one is called Toadstools, and it's 5 pieces. So the 2 toadstools, the girl, the frame, and then that's a dragonfly at the very, very top. This one is 7 pieces, and this is called You Brought Me Love. So you get the borders, the heart, journal spot, the girl, there's a little squirrel down the bottom. That's a ladybug. And then the little tiny hearts. And then this one is the last one. And this one is 7 pieces, and it's called The Runaway. It's got the girl on the horse, and then the stripy hearts, and so forth. Border. Very pretty. So, I mean, $5.63 a piece. I got 8 sets. I mean, they retailed for $14.99, so I thought I did pretty well. And then what else did I buy? Oh, I got a gold Wink of Stella pen as well. And that was the only thing that I had bought. So I just thought this little girl, if we change the colors of her coat, then I might be able to turn that into a Christmas card. They're just really nicely done. Just the packaging is great. And I cannot tell a lie. I would have bought them for the packaging. And they're going to stay in this packaging. That's how much I like it. And I am very anti-packaging usually. Whoops. They're coming right out, aren't they? They also had last night at Joann's, and I should have bought it, but I didn't. They had a gigantic Fiskers stamp press, like 10 by whatever, for $5. But I really wanted to replace this one because one of my feet came off. Kind of a bummer. She'll fit on there, but yeah, it looked like all the stamp stuff was going bye-bye. All right. That is part of the stamp. So I'm going to cut that off because I don't really want the trademark to be in my thing. Kind of wondered that when I first was opening it. So I just got some Memento Tuxedo black. Because I'm going to use some alcohol markers, I think. You have that gigantic one? See, to me, it's like a storage nightmare. I like the small size. Very sticky. Okay, so I have a bin just full of markers here, and they're handy. Your Prima girls, yeah. I can see that. These are Spectrum Noir markers. And peachy. Okay, so I'm just kind of like pulling out. I don't know the colors or anything all that well. So I think these are going to be the two that I'm going to use for the face. FS2. No, I'm not Copic certified or anything like that. I just like the colors, so. There was a much pinker one. Yeah. Okay, kind of like the way they did the hat. It kind of looks like almost greenish. Let's try some of these colors here. How are you? That's good. This is a good one. More to the beige. Okay. Kind of want more of a yellowish. I mean, even if I could do her coat in like some greens. Not sure. Sorry, it's really hard for me to color and talk. I haven't been able to master that yet. So I'm just kind of following the pattern from the packaging for her sleeves and her hat. Mittens. And even though the difference is really slight, I think it's kind of worth it to. Her one stocking is exposed, I didn't realize. And then we also have a tiny bit of her neck. Okay, so they're showing her coat in blue and her dress in purple, but I'm thinking if I could do a combination of reds and maybe a green, that might work. But before I do that, I'm going to try and attempt to do her hair. Okay, so I've got 3 colors of brown. They are to the darker side because I think I want her to have kind of flowing dark hair. EB5, EB7, and EB8. So kind of want to check my depth of color here. Alright, so taking the lightest shade, which there isn't much of, I'm literally just going to kind of frame her face and then some of her curls. She does have cute little bangs, so I'm just kind of, with the lightest shade, I'm going around the fringe of her face and kind of around her face. And then literally just tracing over some of the curls and her outline. Okay, then the next shade, just going to kind of do that wet on wet technique. Kind of fill in the areas the most. But I still want to allow for some area that I can come back in and highlight with the darkest shade. So now we're up to the darkest shade, and I literally am just going to anchor it and just going over anywhere that's open space. The effect is very subtle. And I'm going to go back over this with the blender to try and lighten it once I get the ink down. Looks pretty good though. So then, because it's just so darn dark, Just going to take the blender over it slightly to kind of give it the look of hair. She could be me. My hair's about that long now. I wish it had that pretty wave to it, but it doesn't. Okay. It's got some more depth to the hair. Can you see it? That one's pretty good. So let me focus it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to grab some red and green pens. Ouch. They've improved the pens since I started buying them because now they're octagonal. They used to be kind of like this. So I picked up some grays too. And I learned I don't have that much red. And I don't have that much green either. So there's some green. Here's some gray. It's very light green. And let's check these colors out. Grays, browns, blender, gray. Alright, so let's check these out. Let's see. That's kind of nice. I thought it looks pinker. Ah, we might be able to do something with these guys. Alright, see ya. Thank you for coming. This is more to the pink side. This is more to the coral side. This is going to be our primary red. So I think I'm going to do the coat red. She's got little stars in her pockets, and she does have some little buttons. And the tiniest of collars, oh my goodness. all I'm doing now is trying to outline the jacket. In the areas that I kind of want to appear slightly lighter. So like in the corners of the coat, I'm going to want some highlight. And then I'm going to take that kind of like middle shade. Some color down the coat. Bye, Martha. And then this should be the darkest. Just gonna try and like just blend a bit. Put some ink around the pockets and that's what we've got so far. Okay. Just gonna put the dress in and then we're nearly there. That's what I was afraid of. This one was. Okay. What do you think? Oh, I need to find a pouch for these because they're kind of in the way. But for right now, I'll pop them in there. Okay, I think she could use some sparkles. So that's just a little, that helped her. Let's get some on the coat. Oop, glad I checked because that one was white. Okay, let's have a sip of coffee. Okay, see ya, Goldie. I'm really excited for Tuesday. Okay, let's see. I'm just trying to cut off the big areas and then come back and trim it up. And I think next time I need you guys to remind me that I don't want to fussy cut these. I want to stamp them, color them, and just kind of leave them on the background because this is tedious. But this is how we learn. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I don't like this. I do not recommend it. All right, one little place to clean up. Okay, there's our girl. And what I'm going to do for some of those really fine areas on her hair that are just, I mean, if I go any closer, I'm gonna lose it. I'm just gonna give her some highlights. And then I'm going to take one of these grays, I think, the darkest one. And I'm just going to edge it because that'll give it some ground for where my scissors may have slipped or what have you. Kind of does away with all the white core too. And if you slip like I did and kind of cut off the line up the boot or something, if you just trace around like I'm doing with the gray pen, it all comes back. So there you go. It looks a lot better than before. What do you think? I'm starting to embrace grays. I hate fussy cutting too, but I think sometimes these don't look quite right unless you do it. So I've got a muffin here for God knows I haven't bitten into, so. Got some scraps laying around. I have some stuff I just kind of want to use up. Try and get my colors together here. It's not too bad. Good morning. We did the Melted Snowman. So now I'm just kind of finishing up. I wanted to use one of these images. One of these gorgeous girls that I had gotten to make a card. I haven't made a card in a couple of days.